So anyway, it's tough because until the pandemic, online chess was, I don't want to say it was a joke, but it wasn't considered serious in the same way that over the board chess is considered. But with all these big events now, it's essentially in the same realm as over the board. So I think in many ways it has to be treated the same way. World champion Magnus Carlson accuses Hans Neiman of cheating. This is an article on NPR. Of course, I do actually listen to the NPR political podcast when I want to get my politics every week. I know there are some Twitch streams you can watch, but of course, if you want to get good political news, it's better to watch or to listen to the NPR political podcast, which I do listen to pretty much every week, you guys. All right, so here we go. 1 week after stunning the chess world by resigning from a game after making just one move, reigning world champion Magnus Carlson has broken his silence to accuse Hans Neiman, 19, of cheating. Neiman recently acknowledged cheating in the past, but he insists he has been playing by the rules since he was confronted and punished. Carlson is not convinced. I am not willing to play chess with Neiman, the 31-year-old Norwegian said via Twitter after stating he believes Neiman has cheated more and more recently than he has publicly admitted. Okay, bombshells have rocked elite chess this month. Carlson's overt accusation is the latest development in a scandal that's been the talk of the chess world since September 4th, when Carlson abruptly withdrew from the Singfield Cup in St. Louis following a loss to Neiman of the US. At the time, Carlson issued a cryptic tweet that led many to believe he suspected Neiman of foul play. As speculation swirled, Neiman admitted in an interview that he had previously cheated by using an electronic device to find the best moves. But he said the incidents took place only when he was 12 and 16, and he maintained that he hasn't cheated since. Neiman made those comments after Chess.com hit him with a new ban. In response to his remarks, Chess.com said it has sent detailed evidence to Neiman, in quotes, that contradicts his statements regarding the amount and seriousness of his cheating on Chess.com. Against that backdrop, there was intense interest when Carlson and Neiman were slated to play a rematch last Monday. But after Neiman made his first move as white, Carlson responded with a single move as black and then said, "No, I am going to quit." Carlson went on to win that tournament, the Julius Baer Generation Cup, on Sunday. He issued a statement about Neiman the next day. Carlson's refusal to play Neiman triggered calls for him to explain himself and for the International Chess Federation to review the case, which Carlson admits is unprecedented. Okay, here we go. Carlson explains his suspicions about Neiman. Carlson, who has dominated world chess for years, provided few new details to support his allegations against Neiman. He said Neiman's global rank, he's currently at number 49, has seen unusual games. Carlson also noted his opponent's demeanor. When he played Neiman in St. Louis, Carlson said, "I had the impression that he wasn't tense or even fully concentrating on the game in critical positions while outplaying me as black in a way I think only a handful of players can do. This game contributed to changing my perspective." When they played in person on September 4th, both players were subjected to a security check using handheld metal detector wands, as video from the event shows. Okay. But Carlson says chess must toughen its stance against cheating further, and he suggested he might never be able to trust a player if they've cheated in the past, because I don't know what they're capable of doing in the future. Now, once again, what I think is very, very important here to note is that this is one of those things where one of the reasons I was never offered to see a list, but I would not want to see any list of cheaters, frankly, is because then if I play them in the future, I don't know if I would be able to play and not have it somewhere in the back of my mind being worried about what someone does. That is honestly the truth. Like, I've never received an offer to see that, the vaunted list or whatever that chess.com has of people who have cheated. But I think if I was offered, I would say no, just because of the fact that it would get stuck in my mind and you're just like, you don't know what to do. Anyway, let's keep going. The scandal triggers calls for I didn't finish the last paragraph. Carlson has been accused of not being transparent enough in the past 3 weeks, fueling drama among chess top players and prompting questions about how to verify eye-popping performances by young prodigies. The scandal triggers calls for a clampdown on cheating. On Monday, chess grandmaster Andrew Tang credited Carlson for airing an issue that the chess community wanted to pretend doesn't exist, suggesting Neiman is not alone in cheating. Now, this is also where I'm going to give you guys an example of something Fabiano said. So Fabiano, I believe in his C Squared podcast, said something along the lines of top level chess works sort of on an honor code system. Now the reason that I bring this up is there was a tournament that I played many years in a row. It's called the London Chess Classic. It was held at Kensington in Olympia. Anybody in London knows what I'm referring to, of course. But it was held in Kensington, and for that event there were no scans. So players would come into the venue. There was sort of a private VIP room. You take off your jacket, leave everything there, phones, wallet, whatever, and then you would go into the actual playing hall, the auditorium, and you'd play your game. There were no scans done whatsoever. And I even remember during that event, one of those years, Nepo and I were going to the bathroom quite frequently, like every 25-30 minutes. We're both going to the bathroom, obviously nervous and everything, and one of the assistant arbiters would actually go and stand outside the bathroom every time we went. So he's basically tracking our movements. So this idea, when we're talking about clampdown, things of this nature, it is actually really relevant because a lot of tournaments have not had almost any security precautions at all in the past. So they wouldn't go into the bathroom. But why both? No, I don't mean we're going at the same time, but like I would go, then he would go, then he would go. Magnus replied, awesome, that's great. Okay, let me finish the article and then we'll get back to it, of course. When the scandal first erupted, Tank22 said he's been waiting to see a reckoning over cheating in online games, adding, guess what, it still seems pretty easy to get away with, and many GMs besides Hans have done it. For in-person events like the September 4th match, organizers try to do everything they can to block cheating, Grandmaster Maurice Ashley recently told NPR. But in the open halls where some matches take place, he added, players don't always need a device to gain an unfair edge. Now this is also very relevant because the fact is, outside of the absolute top level events, you really have no way. I'm going to be honest, like if you don't have any scans, you have no way of stopping someone from coming into the playing hall with their jacket on, leaving their phone in the jacket, and then basically when they go to the bathroom, they just get up and you do a sleight of hand, whatever, and you put a phone in your pocket. There's nothing that basically is there's nothing that prevent you from doing something like that. That's honestly. So it is a very, very serious problem. It's a very serious problem. No joke about it. Wait, sad but true. Mogul. Sad but true. Mogul move throwing the last game did not even work. This would have been. He should have tagged Ludwig in this. It's a shame he didn't tag Ludwig, but that's still a great reply. That's actually really funny. He should have tagged Ludwig, but nonetheless, it is still a great reply. Yeah, yeah. That's a good one. That's really good. I like it. That's a great reply. Also, I like, all joking aside, this is the other thing that I have to say about the whole situation in general, is it's very clear that Magnus feels strongly about this, because I find it hard to believe that if he didn't feel strongly about what's going on, he'd be able to be making jokes, laughing, crush the Julius Baer event, and all these other things going on. So I do think that Magnus feels pretty confident in where he's at right now. I do believe that very, very strongly. What does it mean? Basically, when Magnus says, he's saying mogul move. So mogul move, of course, refers to Ludwig, the famous Twitch streamer who went to YouTube. Of course, Ludwig to be proper. He went to YouTube, but Ludwig, there was some game in PogChamps. I think it was PogChamps 1 that he threw to somebody at the end of the game. I forget who it was against. I think in PogChamps 1, he threw a game. So to be context, he was like 500 points better than he won game 2. And it's Charlie. Okay. So yeah, anyway, that's what it's about. Let's get back to the article. Okay. So here we go. I know of a situation with a player where the coach had a code for where they stood on the floor, Ashley said, and they just had to stand in the right place for you to know what piece to move. That, of course, is referring to the classic French chess cheating scandal featuring Sebastian Feller, Cyril Marzolo, and I believe Arnaud Hochard, where during one of the chess Olympics, the coach would stand somewhere behind his opponent. So let's just say I'm here and my opponent's there. Basically, when I'm looking at the camera, just imagine I have an opponent there, and there's my coach is behind my opponent sitting there, and I just look up, and based on where he is, I can figure out a piece or what the square is. So that is it is not a joke at all. If the coach stood in the corner, for instance, that could signal the player to move their bishop. Such actions damage the sport by undermining trust, Ashley said. I mean, conspiracies are everywhere now. Everyone's paranoid, and that's not a good place for chess to be at all. Commentating on the scandal, International Chess Federation Director General Emil Satovsky said on Tuesday, "We need to follow procedures. Also, we need a social contract agreeing that cheating, in particular online, will often remain in the gray zone. It will be the Federation's job," he said. to navigate the process. So it's very tough. I think one of the reasons this has become such an issue is that up until the pandemic, online chess was very. Oh, did he change it to tag? Oh, you can edit, right? Actually, you can edit tweets now, right? Did he tag Ludwig? No, he didn't. He didn't. Oh, is there an edit button now, or did they not add it yet? No, they didn't add an edit button yet. So anyway, it's tough because until the pandemic, online chess was, I don't want to say it was a joke, but it wasn't considered serious in the same way that over the board chess is considered. But with all these big events now, it's essentially in the same realm as over the board. So I think in many ways it has to be treated the same way. So all right, so this is the first article that I wanted to cover. Let's keep going. We have another tweet. What is this? If I was utterly convinced a player at my chess club was cheating, I wouldn't want to play him/her. If I was a professional playing matches for money and my reputation, I definitely wouldn't play him/her. That's my prerogative. Agreed. Absolutely, completely agreed here. I think this is very true. It's, it is Magnus' prerogative. He doesn't want to play, he doesn't have to play. That's just how it goes. I will play late Tuesday, of course, like I always do. I'll probably tilt it off and lose 20 points like I always do as well, but we'll still take a shot. Oh wait, we have a tweet from Christopher Bird. Now, he was the arbiter in charge of security measures at the Sinkfield Cup, the Rapid and Blitz, the Chess 960 as well, and also the upcoming US Championship. And he writes, I also believe that chess organizers should seriously consider increasing security measures and methods of cheat detection for over-the-board chess. In my humble opinion, most organizers arbiters will welcome any suggestions with the caveat that they must respect human decency and local laws. So I'm assuming when he says respect human decency and local laws, it means, yeah. I think we know what it means. I think we know what it means. Human decency, yep. Human decency. It's all, the whole anal beads thing is like Elon's fault 100%. But yeah, I mean, I think this is very true. I think what I would say is that, when I look back on the Canada's tournament, which I played, where there's a famous instance where basically the arbiter started looking, like I literally pulled out every single credit card that has a 250k limit on it. I kept pulling out all my credit cards and I was annoyed during the candidates. But now when you look at these things, I think it's very clear that, for example, wallets will never be allowed at tournaments again. Obviously I assume that you're just not gonna be allowed to bring anything except like orange juice or like a chocolate bar, frankly, to the board, period. I think that's what's gonna happen, and just nothing, period, at all. Wallets, no, watches are already prevented. Watches are prevented already. So just to be clear, this is from Nigel Davies. It says, this is a very clear accusation of cheating, but without actual evidence. I think it's time for the FIDE Ethics Commission to step in as they did in the Solozhenkin case. So Solozhenkin, I believe, is I think Ukrainian grandmaster. Maybe I'm wrong. He accused some girl of cheating in a game. Just flat out said it. Of course, the girl wasn't cheating, and I think he got banned for some period of time. Now, as far as this goes, I think this is a very misguided tweet from Nigel Davies. I think it's I mean, again, as I would say, there are a lot of things going on. You see a lot of stuff. I don't think this situation is comparable at all to the other case. So I think that's just a misguided statement by somebody who's on the outside. He was a Russian grandmaster. Okay, fair enough. All right, next up, what do we have? We have a Ramesh thread. What does RB Ramesh says? Number 1, immense respect for the world champion for taking a principled stand on an important issue, forcing the world to pay attention to it at a huge personal cost. Ideally, the chess world and FIDE should have devised a good practical solution to the cheating problem years ago. This I also agree with as well. I have to say, and this is not even really about FIDE, but I think the fact is the chess world has been way too complacent, way too blasé about the possibility of cheating, because again, they very much separated, where it's like online, of course, it's very easy. You literally get your phone or any device and you can definitely it takes no time to cheat. Over the board, it's not the same thing. You're not in the comfort of your own home. It's not a situation where you can be at the board and just like pull out your phone and look for the best move. So we've always assumed there's a big differential, but one of the things that really concerned me, which I showed on my stream the other day, was that there was this video I watched. It was in Russian, between Dubov and Kachev, where they played a game. Now, obviously in that video it was staged, but Kachev had like an earpiece, and this was 7 years ago, and it looked legitimate. The way that it was done, it looked completely legit. And that video was 7 years ago. And technology is not going to be it's Kachab. Sorry, yeah Ketchup. Okay, good one. Yeah, it was Dubov against Ketchup. But anyway, in that video, it was 7 years ago, and there was like an earpiece, and it wasn't blatantly obvious to me. So technology is only going to keep moving forward. That's that's how it goes. And considering it was possible 7 years ago for something like that, I'm really worried. I think it has to be taken seriously going forward. And it is true, Magnus, he brought this up despite a huge personal cost. He's getting slammed on the internet by a lot of people. A lot of people are slamming him for this. Let's keep going though, because there are more parts to it. Number 2, hopefully a full inquiry will be conducted by FIDE and steps taken to avoid a similar scenario in the future. A reasonably strong player does not need external help throughout the game. Indication at a few, even one critical moments is sufficient to tilt the game in his favor. Okay. Number 3, I think we're gonna get to Yosha and Fabiano a little bit later on for you guys. Number 3, I don't believe the percentage of moves matching with an engine is the only way to prove a player has taken external help. By default, all major chess events should have basic protocols in place. A, physically prevent gadgets, plastics, electronics, etc., of course, from entering the venue. Number 4, jamming signals into the playing hall. And then delay live relay. Spectators should not carry gadgets into the venue, etc. In India, there was a similar instance more than 10 to 15 years ago. Punitive action was taken, much delayed despite players raising concern. Okay. Number 5, of course it is, this is how many times is these? Okay, number 5, of course it is very easy to cast apprehension on a player's integrity by throwing unsubstantiated allegations. It has happened in the past. Innocent players were accused unfairly, so the accuser should be very responsible before making the accusation. Number 6, the best solution is prevention, as obtaining proof is almost next to impossible if the help was taken only once or twice in a game. A strong player can judge opponents' analytical capabilities. At the lower level, it is most difficult. Okay. Number 7, I'm trending. Okay, I trust the world champion's instinct in this instance. Even if the cheating has happened in the past, that is sufficient ground to avoid playing against that particular player. The best proof will be the player's result in the next year under public scrutiny. The end. Yeah, so I mean, this is pretty reasonable. I think, again, unless you catch someone red-handed, the only things that you can do, I mean, the way that I look at it is quite simple. I feel like, and with the current technology, mind you, I'm no genius on electronics or where tech is going. I feel like if you have a 30-minute delay for classical chess and you have extensive searches, like you have people take off their shoes or take off their jacket and you just look in the pockets or you look in the shoes, if someone can get past that, frankly, I feel like like good for them. Honestly, good for them if you can get past that. But that's what I feel like. Or you can go the other route, frankly, which is like the one place where they're very good at like searches at airports is of course in Israel. So I mean, or I feel like if you're like organized, you could always just like hire Mossad to do security at every event. You could do that, and I would feel very comfortable then too. So yeah, that's my that's my little bit. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Okay. This is a tweet from Jonathan Tisdall. It says, well, I know what makes me wonder the most. What does Neiman have to clear? Basically, what does he have to say that would allow Magnus to say more? Again, my assumption on this topic has to be that there's something legal. I don't know if it's NDAs. I mean, I don't know, but there has to be something legal wise or legalese, whatever you want to call it. I don't know, but there has to be something. That's my guess. Okay, what's next? We have another tweet. What is this tweet? Okay, we have this tweet. I am HO. In my humble opinion, Magnus Carlson has done everything right so far and with class. The argument that he is a crybaby is absurd. He has never been one. He hates losing, but never blamed anyone but himself. It's also clear that the St. Louis game was just the cherry on the cake. Come on, wake up, as we say. So okay, so interesting take from one of the top French grandmasters. Interesting because it's actually on the opposite side. Wait, someone in chat says I was a JTAC in the military. You have no idea how futuristic methods How futuristic wait, where was it? I just lost it. You have no idea how futuristic methods we have. I have a method to cheat which doesn't need electronics. Yeah, I don't know. No idea. I mean, of course I'm not some expert, but I mean, I feel like there have to be like much more sophisticated methods, right? Because like forget about chess, but just think about it if you like work for the CIA. Like I'm sure it's like to the point where it's like something is like super minuscule and probably like it can connect to a satellite or stuff like that. Honestly, I mean, I don't know. You would think so. Like again, we don't. I doubt we have any agents, but in chat, but I'm betting that there's stuff like that. Like I'm betting there's stuff like that's to that level where it's like it's something super tiny in your ear or wherever, and probably the signal, like, and no matter where you are in the world, you can probably get some sort of relay from satellites. I don't know, but I'm guessing. I'm an agent, but I can't speak. Good one. Okay. What's next? We have another tweet from Emil, apparently. I don't know. I'm just saying, I mean, think about it. Like, how crazy is it? Like, just an example. As an example of how crazy is, wasn't that their operation that Israel did inside of Iran, where didn't they somehow like assemble a gun and like with a satellite or something, or like some kind of crazy signal from like thousands of miles away? Weren't they able to trigger the gun? Like, I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, you think about how insane is that? Like, you literally assemble a gun, and from like thousands of miles away, you can trigger the gun to like shoot. I mean, that's real. I get that we're talking about governments, but I'm just saying, like, you see where technology is. Like, it's so insane. It's just so insane how far that stuff goes. So yeah, Fabiano was impressed by Queen 8. It was the only move. Otherwise I just resigned. Yeah, it was the only move. Otherwise I just resigned the game. Yeah, you guys, what, you want me to say something else? Anyway, okay, last week, what is this? Marca reports that Neiman asked for 26,000 euros to play in a rapid tournament, a figure that only Carlson, the world champion, received, since the fixed amount for assistance from other players of his level or higher ranges between 5,000 to 10,000 euros. Nice. Okay. That's a good one. So to play a tournament, he wants 26,000 euros. Yep, exactly. Yeah. Kudos for trying. I mean, yeah, what can I say? That is hilarious. What is this?
This is such a fucking bad take. Anyone who says that he's salty, just angry he lost, you guys are morons that have never competed at anything. Morons. Anyone who types that is a fucking moron, including, like, seriously, including all the chess pros and shit. Anyone who that's their take, the amount of years that he has fucking played professionally and never done anything like that, it's fucking anyone who's like, he's just angry he lost, you guys all need to go on a ship in the Caribbean, and we need to fucking never let it dock again, or the ocean somewhere. The cruise ships go in the Caribbean, right? So we'll get a big cruise ship, we'll put you all on it. You're going to stay out there. No country's going to accept you. We take your fucking passports away, and you just live on this ship forever. Better learn how to fish. It's going to run out of fucking food.
That's great. I love that. I wasn't expecting that. Okay, what's this? What is this? We have a tweet from... Oh, yeah, this was a reply yesterday. I didn't cover this on stream. This was a tweet reply from XQC after Magnus put it out. This is XQC saying, he cheated. Believe me, let me cause irreparable damage because I want to. And this was from of course XQC, like, putting this out here. I really don't like this. Of course, XQC is completely out of his mind to say this. Maybe now he'll want to jump on like a 5-hour call and we can yell at each other about it. But at the end of the day, he doesn't know what he's talking about, and this is just insane to put this tweet out there. I mean, I don't know, maybe he's trying to stir up drama and start something else, but yeah, he literally is clueless on this topic, and I don't know why he felt the need to put this out. I mean, it's just ridiculous to put this out. So yeah, I mean, he's not right though. That's the problem. He's not right. Watch out, XQC might have dirt on you that he's held for a few years. I mean, that whole situation is reprehensible. That's all that needs to be said. Nobody in that situation comes out looking good. It's terrible for everybody. That's what I would say. We have Maurice Ashley states, Magnus finally states he believes Hans cheated, but there are many questions still hanging in the air. It's mystifying why he needs Hans to give him permission to say more after dropping bombs on the young man's head. Will the full truth ever come out? Sad time for chess. Again, in the same vein of the other stuff that's going on here, I think it's pretty clear that as we stand right now, I think it's really the ball's in Hans's XQC streaming fine. The ball's in Hans's court. And will Hans say something or not? I mean, there's some legal thing that's preventing everything from coming out. That's really the bottom line. And when it comes out, if it comes out, then we'll know. But if Hans is truly innocent, I expect Hans to be like, okay, you know, basically just laughingly be like, okay, Magnus, okay, chess.com, you guys say you have a ton of proof, show me the proof. And then then the public will see everything, and then we'll know what the reality is. But if Hans doesn't do that, that actually does make me believe there's much more going on. That is my belief. Is that as I see it, if Hans is going to just ignore it all, and after his impassioned plea, where apparently he didn't tell the truth according to chess.com, if he came out with an impassioned plea and now he's not going to say anything further, to me, I find it hard to believe there isn't more to it. That at the end of the day, that's how I see it, plain and simple. There's really all there is, in my opinion. I mean, I wish there was more to say, but that's my general read. I think it's pretty straightforward. Like, if there's nothing there, Hans will be like, okay, you guys, what do you have? Show it to me. That's how I say it. What about legal stuff? Well, legal stuff for who? For Hans? I mean, I don't get it. I mean, I don't know. I don't see it. Like that's my take on it. I don't get it. Like, if Hans is clean, Hans should be like, okay, show me what you have, because then the public will see it. The public will be like, okay, clearly this is some witch hunt. Like, it doesn't make any sense if that becomes public. But if Hans is gonna like not say anything, then I'm under the impression that like there probably is something there, because he should. That's how I read it. As far as the high games, I will say this, like, I've used that let's check. I haven't looked at many games. I mean, I did by accident find a 100% Gary game last night that I referred to, because I as I said, I was studying some chess and I came across the famous game in 1986 between Gary Kasparov and Nigel Short, and then in my mind I was like, okay, well, let's see how good this was, because I thought Gary played that game like a boss, and Gary came back with a 100 for Gary and like a 65 for Nigel. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, but the discrepancy in those numbers is definitely odd to me. Very, very, very odd. I don't know. I mean, that's what it seems like to me, but I don't know. I don't know. That's my general read of the situation right now.